we have such a low attention span due to the endless amount of entertainment that we have on just this one small device, and that's our cell phone. Not to mention computers, tablets, and the list goes on. Now, technology in general, like with all the smart devices and stuff, we cannot overlook the fact that they have contributed a lot to society in a positive way, but at the same time it's also affecting society in a negative way. When you think about, for example, the different social media apps that we have on our devices, for example TikTok. If you remember TikTok when it just came out, it wasn't TikTok at first, and TikTok literally took off during COVID, and that is because TikTok knew exactly what to give to the people. That's like a plus feature on their platform to produce or to allow us to produce short form content. Because our attention span is so low, for example, you can watch up to 4 or 5 videos in just 1 minute. So when you think about that, if you are doing that on a daily basis where someone is able to put, let's say, a 5-minute video into 1 minute, and you're still able to understand what took place in those 5 minutes, right? That is something that cause our attention span to decline, because now if you are going to go back to watching something that's 5 minutes, you're like, just get to the point, where when people try to just get to the point, you're missing out on a lot of useful stuff. So when you look on stuff like this and you see all the other platforms, if you think about all the other platforms, they're now introducing short form content because they realize that a lot of their viewers gravitating to TikTok because that's what people want. They just want it now, and the other platforms, they weren't doing that. So now all those other platforms, they're introducing short form content. For me, I've realized that the shorter the content, the more I want to watch. And the more I want to watch means the longer you're going to stay on the platform, and that's exactly what they want. And what's funny about that is sometimes you're on these platforms for so long without even knowing, and a lot of time you go on different platforms, especially TikTok. You'll see people make videos like, am I the only one who turns the TV on but then sit on TikTok for hours? Am I the only one who say I'm going to bed at 10 but then I stay on TikTok until 1? These are people that's realizing that they are watching so much of this content that time is going by, and because of how glued they are to their phones, they don't realize that the time is going by, because it doesn't feel like that when you're on it. And I feel like that's disconnecting us from the real world. That's disconnecting us from our friends, our family. It's disconnecting us from the things that matter the most to us, right? And I've seen that for myself, and I'm sure that a lot of you probably see the same thing. And before you know it, you're gonna have, it's already started. You have people that's glued onto their phone 24/7. They're on the street, they're in the bathroom, they're in the kitchen, they're in bed, they're in the car, wherever they are, they're just glued onto their phone. And honestly, in a way, that's literally scary. It can be fixed, but the only way it can be fixed is if people start waking up and realize what's taking place. And you don't see a lot of these videos because you have more people sleeping than who's awake. But if you want to put a stop to this, or at least change this, I would recommend people to do dopamine detox. Start practicing mindfulness, do some meditation, do more outside activities, and be mindful of what you're consuming and how much you are consuming. Because just like food, if you consume stuff that's not healthy for you, it's gonna show the negative effect. Same thing with your mind. You know, if you consume a lot of like negative or toxic content, you will soon start to see the effect that it have on you, just by the way you see things, just by the way you think. And when you are consuming like some of these contents, it literally put you in a position where you slowly start give up the control that you have over how you think and how you see certain things and what your opinion is, right? People start just going with the crowd, and you know, they take sides. Like, people just always feel like there should always be a side. If it's not red, it's blue. If it's not yes, it's no. Like, it's not always like that, you know what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that's taking place, and people, they're not really realizing it. Social media is like a drug. We're all addicted to it. We're all hooked up. And you know, we are no better than crackheads and alcoholic, literally, because it's doing the same thing to us, just in a different form, right? So when you think about that, you cannot judge. You really cannot look on a person that's smoking their life away and judge them. You cannot look on a person that drinks every night and judge them, because you are consuming this drug, but because you don't realize it is a drug, you don't see anything wrong with it. If you don't believe me, like I've said this before, check your screen time and you'll see what I'm talking about. We all know at least one person who freaks out when the Wi-Fi is out, when the internet isn't working, when they're not getting cell service, or they forgot their charger. We all know that person, right? We all know one person that's like that. Now, it's gotten so bad that you have people putting together like these camping trips and retreat because of how, you know, we need to spend more time as a family, we need to do this, and you know, away from all this tech and all of that stuff. That's how bad it is, right? So that needs to change, for real, for real. If you want to know who the real drug dealers are, you need to pay attention to the creators of some of these apps. They are the true drug dealers, and we're just so hooked to their product that we don't see that. And it's time to wake up.